Maybe you need to move that side. Welcome back to another video, guys. Today I'm here with Jerome, and he has a BMC Timemachine. The very first time machine on my channel. Actually, I did a previous BMC that was a Timemachine. So the Timemachine is the Arrow version of BMC's lineup. And today I'm trying a different interview setting, so you can see me and you can see Jerome, so it's a different style. Jerome, thank you so much for coming out, and thanks for responding to my Instagram question. We planned this so long ago, and finally we have managed to make it here. So maybe before we begin and we dive into the bike, right? Could you just maybe give us a bit of background about yourself and how long have you been riding?
Okay, hi everybody. My name is Jerome. I've been riding since COVID rider. So that was in 2019. So that's how long I've been riding till now. So it's been a good journey. After some mistakes in buying the wrong bikes, I finally get my dream bike lah, and so very happy that we are here to share a little bit more about the BMC Timemachine.
How many bikes do you have, or is this your very first bike since you are a COVID cyclist, right? And why a Timemachine?
So this is actually my fifth bike, sorry, since COVID. Pardon me. So I started with Bianchi, aluminium. I think it's called the Val Neuron. So I started with that. Then I realized, hey, not bad. I can make money. Then I changed to a Canyon. Canyon was a disaster for me, to be honest. It came with I tend to go a bit based on some of the advice from my friends who are very experienced in riding. It's better to get something that is one size smaller. So Canyon came, and the first time I rode, I fell off the bike already. So I decided to sell it, and also I sold to Indonesia and for a very good profit. I sold it after 3 months, and I made some good money, to be very honest. So I took the money and I changed it to a Harley Sprint.
Okay.
So I was riding the Harley Sprint for quite some time. I enjoyed the bike quite a fair bit. Then, but it was on the 105 Groupset, so it's a very basic setup. Then one of my riding kaki who's very experienced saw one very beautiful Harley Sprint, but very high spec, and it's built by T3. I think the total build was almost 8 to 10,000. So I managed to get it at a good price, and that was a bike that I still miss till today. Then when the right time comes, I decided to go for this BMC Timemachine. But the Timemachine I bought in January this year. So it took me almost 10 months to finally build it up. So I spent a good about 10 months with the Harley Sprint before I parted it ways with another new owner who really loved the bike too.
From the Harley Sprint, an aluminium bike, and then now an Arrow frame, what made you buy this bike?
So as you know, the Harley Sprint is considered Arrow version, even though it's alu frame. And I've also tasted the goods of the pros of a carbon bike with the Ultimate. So the next move is towards an Arrow bike, and at the same time a carbon, so that it's more comfortable versus the Harley.
Can you run us through the bike? Basically everything, man. What are the components, the frame size, your height, and where do you get it, and the price?
Okay, so I got this at Integrated Riding, which is the authorized dealer for BMC, and this bike is introduced to me by one of my cycling kaki, and I just want to acknowledge him here. Hi Pua, thanks for introducing me to this bike. So he's now on the Timemachine now. I also help him sell his Timemachine to Indonesia. So I essentially need to sort of get this bike, but I think it was quite fated. So I walked into the shop when my friend was at Integrated Riding, and the color blew me away when I first walked in, and it was my size. And I need to get it because it was the only one in Singapore, according to the retailer. And the color is called Deep Sea, and I'm a big Rolex fan. So Deep Sea resonate with the James Cameron Deep Sea. And you know, as people who love bikes, we are very particular of colors. So this one sort of blew me away, and I paid a deposit immediately when I saw the bike. So then the journey was 10 months down the road before it was built. So talking about some of the components and some parts of the bike, the Groupset was one that was very, very challenging. I wanted a Di2 Ultegra because my previous Harley, the higher spec one which I changed to, was a GRX. And it's a 1x GRX Di2, and I love the shifting, so I need to keep that in check. But this time around, I went for the 2x instead of the 1x because I tested the 1x on the Alu bike, and I thought this would be more comfortable for this bike. Looks more appropriate as well. So the Ultegra took a very long time, which explains why the frame was sitting there for a long time even though the deposit is being paid. Maybe I share a little bit more on some unique parts of the Time Machine. First, the stem, it's an integrated cockpit. They call it the integrated cockpit system, in short the ICS. So what's different from the rest is obviously nowadays a lot of good bikes, or we call it the hyper bike sometimes, a lot of cables are being hidden. So this one also totally hidden, including underneath the stem. You don't see any cables. But the difference is there's enough slack inside the space. BMC has done a very good job. Within the stem and the spaces, there are enough space and enough slack for you to keep additional wires and cabling inside the stem itself, within the frame itself. So if you need to ever travel with this bike, which I plan to cycle in US come March 2022, it's easier to take out and put into the bike box without readjusting all the hydraulics and the derailleur cables. And most of you who know that when you need to do this, it's very, very troublesome, and you need to visit a mechanic. So that's one of the key features of this integrated cockpit. The other thing I like about this integrated cockpit is that because I had the Canyon Ultimate, right? That came with a one-piece cockpit, and because my size was 2XS, the cockpit, the width is 370 mm. So it's very twitchy, and the stem was very short. I think it's 80 mm, which is why I like to ride off the saddle. So the first time I ride off the saddle, I fell off at the Nico Highway. So luckily it was not too bad a fall, and the bike was still okay. So I managed to dispose it off. So this is different because this is actually a two-piece, even though it's integrated. So versus the one-piece, right? The challenge is fixed. So sometimes when you are riding, you are not able to adjust, especially sometimes you want to do a recovery ride or you want to do a ride with more climbs. You can actually adjust upwards so that you get a more comfort body position on this bike. The second, the other thing that the bike is very interesting is that caught my eye is the geometry of the bike. I mean, I watched your YouTube videos a lot, and I also agree with you that some bikes, it's either an aero bike or a climbing bike.
I don't like it because I mean, their whole purpose of the SL7 is one bike to roll them all. It's weird because it's neither here nor there. You know, you are either an aero bike or a climbing bike, but I'm very traditional in that sense.
To have a SL7, the all-rounder, sometimes you can, I mean, this is my own personal opinion. Sorry to all my friends who had the SL7 or SL6. The geometry is not as attractive as aero geometry. So you can see that it's pretty flushed. So it gives you a very sporty, very sports car look. And then on top of that, the other interesting part about this Time Machine is you can see the integrated border cages. And they call it this aero module. This whole thing is called the aero module. It came with the bike. So what this essentially does is to help have a better aerodynamic when you are riding above 35 or 40 kilometers per hour. As you can also tell from the fork, maybe this angle you can't tell, the fork has also that another piece that actually cuts through the wind, so that it channels the wind to have a better aerodynamic when riding. So this integrated bottle cage, you can also put other bottles, but it came with the Elite bottles. And there's also this compartment, sorry. This compartment allows you to negate or forget your saddlebag, which I find is quite ugly sometimes. So this one you can keep your spare tires, your spare tubes, and your CO2. The other good thing about the aero module is that you notice it's built in the center and very low of the frame. So what I notice is it helps you bring down the center of gravity. That's also another area that intrigues me, because honestly when riding off the saddle, it's really very stable and the center of gravity is very good. So when I'm off saddle, I actually ride a lot of time. When I ride off saddle quite often, whether accelerating or pushing up to speed. And this one, when you're off the saddle, it feels like a dream, and the confidence level go up very high. Yeah, it came with this frame when I bought. It came with the integrated the aero module, the ICS, and the saddle. So this saddle is the Fizik saddle. I think it's called the Argo. So I think BMC also quite nicely pair up with them to come up with a color that matches the neon red on the top tube.
I've been jotting down a few things that I wanted to ask. Because the saddle height is the seat post height is very low. What is your height? And you said this is a double XS, right?
So this is 47, size 47. It's the smallest. And my height is 168. The seat post is not that low. It's only very low because of after the bike fit. So I went for a retool bike fit with Trilab, and their recommended is this seat post. So it was initially higher, but I think they wanted me to go a bit lower here, and then the stem they recommended to stick to this. Maybe in the future I can slam it down a little bit more, but I think as of now, Trilab, I mean, we believe in the experts lah. So this is what they recommend. I just follow. I don't challenge their recommendation. But I hope when I'm more comfortable, I'm able to drop the stem a bit more, so that it's more looks even more aero lah.
So bike fit, right? Personally, I don't really believe in a bike fit. I like to play around with my bike and get the setup right. So after you have attended the bike fitting session, do you think it has helped you, and do you feel more comfortable?
Actually, I'm like you, because when I first started with my Bianchi and my Ale, right, I've not went for the bike fit except for the Canyon and this bike. And to be very honest, I like to play around, some adjustment here and there, getting a feel of it. And the whole process is actually quite enriching, and you get to know a lot more about your bike and yourself. And I totally enjoy this process. But because I've done my first bike fit with Canyon, and after the bike fit it was really more comfortable, I decided to go for a bike fit after toying with this, because this bike is not as easy to adjust versus my previous bikes. It's quite interesting. You have screws here, and different type of screws, not your normal. You have to use the spanner. So, and then some here, not your, and here also is not your conventional screws and your conventional tools to adjust. So I decided to go for a bike fit because of that also.
And speaking of bike fitting, because when I was looking at the bike, right, your saddle and the rail, it's a bit funny because here you can actually push it all the way back as well and push it forward. And on top of that, you can adjust the saddle rail, right? So it's like a dual adjustment. Is this only unique to this bike? I have never seen the other bikes.
I'm not sure about the other bike, but true enough, the Time Machine has given me a lot of surprises, and this is one of them. You can actually move the rails here, and you can still adjust here. So there are two ways, and for aero bike, it's quite deep. I mean, it's something that not many bikes can provide that. So with the bike fit, they recommended this for now. And so far, I feel very comfortable after the bike fit. So I'll just leave it for now.
And I agree with you that this frame looks very, very nice. I love the lines, the top tube that is flat. A lot of bikes now, they come like compact frames, like Giant especially, it's a bit slanted down. So this one really likes. I wanted to buy the frame, but I thought because of the weight it was a bit heavy, I held back. I want to talk about the compartment box, but before we go there, let's talk about the wheels. These are I'm only just looking at it on the surface, is the Rolf Prima. You want to explain more about the spokes. Can you tell us about the wheels?
I've been with the previous 4 bikes, right? This is my 5th bike. I've been playing with a lot of wheels. I bought like three pairs of wheels. One of them is the ND Foundation 45, and I've tested the clincher and tubular setup. So I've sold all of them except this one, because I tried all the wheels on the same Alley Sprint. So I don't know whether it's perfect for this, because to be fair, I didn't get a chance to test the other wheels lah. But this is the only wheel that I kept. One of the main reason I kept this set of Rolf Aries 4 wheels is because I find it very interesting, because the spokes, if you notice, is actually patented by Rolf. Rolf is handmade in Eugene, Oregon, US, and they patent the twin spoke. So how this twin spoke work, according to them, is that because it's twin spoke versus your lateral spokes, right? With the twin spoke, it sort of go into a part where it sort of overlaps with one another at somewhere around this area, and it's between the left and the right. So it gives the wheel a lot more stability, because when it treads like that. So your left and your right pull, right, it is able to give it more firm affirmation on the wheel set itself, because of the left and right. And because of that, according to them, they use lesser spokes, which also reduces the weight of the wheels. Because if it's lateral and you need the left and right to keep the wheel stable, you may need more spokes. So this is how they develop these twin spoke wheels.
So having tried multiple wheel sets, is this the one?
I think so, by far my favorite now. To be honest, I've seen the Princetons, the Zips and all, and I kind of like the Princeton, the design and the look, and but most of them come with the CK hubs, and because it's an aero bike, it's already pretty heavy, like what you mentioned. So with the CK hub, I was told it's also heavy, so that held me back now. So I think I will stick to this wheel for a while.
The wheels is rather shallow for a time machine. It will look, personally, I think it will look better with deeper wheels. Any reason why you didn't get so deep wheels?
Yeah, I think it will look much better if I have a bigger depth. Currently it's 42. I think one of the main reasons is because I need to train up to a certain level first before I'm able to go a bit deeper, especially when it comes to climbs. Currently, at this setup suits my physics, suits my stamina and my level of fitness.
I'll keep the compartment box for the last, because that's the most interesting one. What is the weight and the full price of this bike?
The weight, interestingly, the last time I measured was 8.1, but maybe we can do it later, just to verify this. Price, because it's all different parts, because the frame was almost 6,500, and then the wheels are around. It came with the previous bike that I bought, but the wheels are about 2,500. So I think all in all, with the setup, with the Ultegra setup and all, this bike should be in the range of 12 to 13. So very decent for aero bike at this range versus some other brands out there.
Compartment box, this one is a really funky one. There's a huge box here. You said that you don't need a saddlebag because you can actually put things in there. But what can you put in there, man?
Later we will open up and you can take a look what's inside. I forgot to mention the look, Clio Blade carbon pedals. This is also, I was always on Shimano, and ever since I changed to this, really not looking back. It's really very decent in terms of the clipping and the stability. Only thing is have to get used to clipping on. And what's interesting about this is there's no tension.
Okay.
There's no tension. So you want to have a tension edge. This look Clio, they give you this whole blade, and then you change this for the tension. So it's quite interesting because Shimano, you just have to use your Allen key to tighten it and loosen it.
So because you do not have an Allen key to adjust the tension, So Shimano, being a Japanese brand, it's like a Toyota, right? Everything is so easily done. That's why I love Shimano. But because this, you have to change the blade. Does it come in different blades when you buy them? And how does the mechanism work?
Yeah, so it came with another set of blade. So you just have to loosen this Allen key here. Then when it's released, you can just clip it on. It's quite easy.
How many?
It came with another set. So one looser, the other one tighter.
Okay.
Yeah. Not to forget to mention about the tires also. I also tested quite a fair bit of tires, and eventually, apart from the colors that matches the frame this S-Work Turbo is also very, very good. I've tested the GP, Continental GP, right? Everybody's using that. Most of them most people are using that. And what's the Italian brand? The Corsa Vittoria. So I've tested both, and I'm sticking with this S-Work Turbo.
Actually, I owned the S-Works Turbo tires before, and I agree that the S-Works Turbo's rolling is actually better than the GP 5000. But the downside why I didn't continue going with them is because the treads wear very, very fast. Maybe because it's like a racing tire, right? Okay, we are running short. So before we go to Instagram Q&A, last question from me. Anything you don't like about this bike?
Yeah, maybe weight lah.
Weight?
That's the only thing that you have to sort of compromise with all the bikes that I have. It's as heavy as my Alu bike, the Alley Sprint. So that's the only thing that and can be quite challenging if your fitness level is not up there, especially when it comes to climbing. So henceforth, that explains why I'm going on the lower depth, on the 42 depth on my wheels. If not, this bike will look even better with, I think, a 55 or 60.
Okay guys, now we'll move on to the Instagram Q&A. If you want to ask your questions, follow me on Instagram and you will get the chance to ask. Jerome, are you ready? We have a couple of questions. Some might have already been answered by you when you were explaining a bike, so I acknowledge all of your questions. I won't ask those questions to save time. But I want to give you a challenge. Because so far all my interviews, people tend to talk a bit too much and it makes my cutting life very difficult when I edit. So I'll give you a challenge. You need to answer it within 1 minute, okay? I'll tick the timer in my head lah. Okay, so the first question. How is the performance on the wheels considering the spoke count is very little?
I can only say brilliant. Very good wheel.
Wow, okay. That was quite short, but within the 1 minute time. Does the aero bottle cage help in any of the speed performance or is it just a gimmick?
BMC have tested this in the wind tunnel and they have data to support this, so it's not just a gimmick. On top of that, it gives you a lot of stability.
Oh, I love it, man. The answer is so short. Why Rolf wheels among all the other brands out there?
Number one, I like the patented technology on the spokes, and I believe what they shared on their website in terms of reducing the weight through this pairing spoke and having the stability on the left and right pull on when you're riding.
This question, Brian, you asked a very good question. It's not even a question lah. Can you travel back and forth in time with this bike since it's a time machine?
Yeah, honestly, I wish to. If I ever can travel back and forth in time, I would love to do it. But maybe in this aspect, it allows you, but during the ride lah.
Why not a team machine?
I'm more in favor of aero bike because the geometry really looks gorgeous to me, and I appreciate lines. And I appreciate colors, so that's the answer.
Why the odd color scheme?
So, like I say, it's a deep sea blue, and I'm a fan of Rolex. So this reminds me of the James Cameron Sea Dweller. So and it's only one in Singapore. So I have many offers to buy over my frame, but I've never accepted any of them. And I guess it's very subjective when it comes to color, but I love the color.
Are you familiar with Java bikes? Have you heard of Java? He says he thought this bike was a Java Vesuvio.
I heard of Java, but I've never really seen that bike lah. So I don't know. Do they come with the integrated bottles and
maybe the shape looks a bit like, I don't know who copied who. Most probably Java.
Oh, really? I will try to Google later. I've never seen it.
Okay.
But you can see some if you look into the details, the lines, some of the frame on the body, the lines on the frame is you can tell it's they've done a lot of research in coming out with this frame.
I'm actually getting a Java Vesuvio, so remember to watch my video. Oh, wow, this must be your friend. Is this bike better than your Alpha?
Yeah, must be, right? So, yeah, I've been driving Alpha for a very, very long time, and I have many Alphas in my life, and I must say, I'm starting to appreciate this bike versus my Alpha. My Alpha is still much better, but when it comes to the contour of the Alpha, and I see some similarities, which is why I bought this bike.
This is my personal question. If you were to choose only one, your Alpha or your BMC, which one will it be?
Bro,
One, just choose one.
definitely Alfa Romeo.
Oh, damn.
Definitely Alfa Romeo. I can just whether go back in time, go forth in time with the time machine, but the Alfa Romeo is a classic. It's one of the most beautiful car being ever built, manufactured.
So since you're talking about being classic and stuff, right? Would you consider buying a very bespoke, classic kind of timeless bike like a Bastion?
Yeah, heard of Bastion. My friend introduced me to Molten. I think it's a mini Velo. So yeah, I'm into such classic artistry sort of stuff lah. I enjoy collecting them, but have to work harder first.
Sorry, the question is a bit mixed up. So, any worries about the lack of spike count on the wheels? And do the wheels require frequent truing?
Honestly, ever since I had the wheels, I have no problems. I be very honest. Don't be fooled by the number of spokes that is here. But really, it's really very, very good. They try to reduce the weight, but it's one of the more stable wheels I've ridden, and maintenance wise, really not the high maintenance girlfriend that you have.
Okay, next question is on the storage box. Will the items in the storage box rattle?
Later when we look at the video, you will find out. They have done quite a fair bit of things to make sure that there's no rattling.
So the next question is, what do you have inside the storage box? Can we have a look now? I'll record it with my phone. Okay, let me use my phone. I'm gonna start my camera. Okay, so this is a junction box. How do you do it?
The junction box is hidden here. So I
Oh, okay.
Very slick.
Okay, that's the junction box is there.
This is the storage. So this small little pouch. So there's no rattling. You can tell because it's fitted nicely. And these are some of
Yeah, so what do you have inside?
so far never used before.
Oh, where's the Rolex? I was expecting a Rolex inside to be hidden here.
Yeah, not bad. When you're riding and you're wearing a nice watch, you can also keep all this in your jersey, and then you put the watch here.
So you can only open it from one side?
Yeah, only one side.
Oh, okay. So it's not that huge. Okay.
You need to do it.
Alright.
And you need to use this so that it doesn't rattle.
Oh, okay. Actually that's about it lah. Everybody was just asking about the storage box. Last question. You know the question? Are you subscribed to my channel?
Yeah, of course. I've been subscribing to the channel for I think a good 6 months, watching most of the videos, and very informative.
Thank you.
I like it. Good job, bro.
Thank you so much. Because we are at the swimming pool, there are a lot of kids going to be coming here and splashing on the bike. I still need to film the bike, so let's just end it here. I think we've got enough footage. So again, thank you so much, Jerome. Thanks for sharing the things about your bike. I hope you guys find this very informative, and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy, and then see you guys in the next video. Thanks, Jerome. Okay, bye-bye.